I've had the great fortune of working in partnership with the Innovation Factory for a number of years. Love going to all the pitch contests and networking evenings, which I miss greatly because those were always in person and they were so much fun and where I got to meet people in person. But today we'll talk a little bit virtually about how to sort of access some of the talent from McMaster University. I have been able to have some really great working partnerships with current clients with Innovation Factory to help support growth of business. So we'll talk a little bit about how those work and some other funding opportunities that we have. And doesn't seem to be going to my next slide. Oh, yes, it did. Okay, so as many of you are probably familiar with McMaster University, we are a very large research-based institution. We have students available in faculties from humanities, social science, science, engineering, business, as well as our arts and science program. We are a very community-centered university, but we do find that we are a little bit challenging to connect with and figure out where you need to go because we are so large. So hopefully this presentation will help a little bit and at least give you some contact with somebody who can direct you in the right way should you be looking for some contacts on campus. So the talent that comes out of McMaster University, if you don't already know, is really engaged and mindful. They engage in things like problem-based learning, and we adhere to sort of these main core competencies that all of our students graduate with in some capacity or another, and whether that comes from some co-op or internships that they've done or through their academics. We work really hard to ensure that students meet these core competencies, as we feel these are key for employability in the future. And obviously these include things like adaptability and resiliency, which I think we can all probably agree that we've improved our adaptability and resiliency skills over the last 18 months or so. They work on teamwork, leadership skills, problem solving, critical thinking, and they're able to bring really great new and innovative ideas on projects they work on and connections that they make with industry partners. And that's one of the great things about accessing the talent is that you get this cutting edge knowledge and enthusiasm from the students who are really looking to make an impact, whether it be in a short-term project or something a little longer term. So I'm going to start by talking about one of the partnerships, and I've actually worked with a number of individuals from Innovation Factory on what's called Career Trek. So these positions offer community partners free assistance with short-term projects. So they're meant to give students real world and active learning experiences. And these can range anywhere from market research, social media. It tends to be a really popular one where startups and new businesses are looking for assistance. And we have an excellent communications and multimedia program that we've actually had a number of students partner with clients from Innovation Factory using that particular skill set. They are project-based and unpaid and typically are part-time. The nice thing about them is they can start whenever you like. So one of the reasons I started these projects was because with startups, they tend to not fit in the very structured mold of internships and co-ops necessarily. It does work for some, but co-ops have to be paid. They have to start in either September or January or May. They have to be full-time, they have to be paid. So it doesn't always work in terms of the needs of the clients that I've been working with. So these are great because they can start anytime. They could be pretty much any length. And typically they are shorter, so it doesn't have to be 4 months. They can be, 2 months, a month, maybe it's 6 weeks, whatever it is that you're looking for. Again, they are unpaid. We do have some criteria around these opportunities. They cannot be more than 85 hours over a 4-month period of time, because that keeps them sort of in that volunteer space of about 5 hours a week. And we can't do anything longer than that in an unpaid capacity, because that then becomes an unpaid internship, which we don't do, and actually violates the Employment Standards Act. So we're pretty strict on those timelines. And we do expect them to be project-based. So there's a start and an end time to the project for the work to be done. This is just a quote here I want to share from somebody from Innovation Factory, actually, who's had a number of students and has come back to us several times. that the two students that they had were so much help to them, and how much they found that this program was beneficial to both the students and to themselves. And this particular client has come back to us about 3 times to get more students to hire on different projects. So, you know, the incentive for students, while is not financial incentive, it is for them to grow skills, make connections, you know, test out their legs and understand what entrepreneurship and building a small business means. So many students do have this passionate idea that they're going to be an entrepreneur when they graduate. And this really gives things, I think, students, you know, a great view of what it actually means to be an entrepreneur. It's probably not as flashy and easy as it's made to look in movies and things like that, right? So this gives them that really great perspective. So the expectations from our employers are that, you know, this is a meaningful experience. So they're not stuffing envelopes, and things like that, that they are doing meaningful work that is going to help move the business along. We hope that this includes some kind of mentorship type of relationship as well, where you can impart some of your wisdom and guide the students and give advice. Giving feedback to the student upon project completion is really key for them to know how they've done, where they can improve going forward. And then sort of act as also act as a reference. A lot of students don't have a ton of work experience, and also many students don't have access to formal internship and co-op programs because those are all typically limited enrollment. So it's great for them to be able to develop these experiences and skills and have a work reference to be able to provide for their next opportunity. We have a very short project agreement that we ask everybody to complete. It's a quick online form, and send that in just so we know where our students are. And then we also help them with some follow-up pieces afterwards, their resume, some reflection and things like that, just to make it a really holistic experience. You know, these students can help you advance your projects. It's a great way to screen for future potential talent. If your business is growing and you're looking to hire somebody in the future, and getting access to those fresh ideas and perspectives, and also an opportunity to provide mentorship. It's always great to share your stories and give back and help others. I think that's a really fulfilling part of this as well. One of the other ways that you can access talent from McMaster is through sort of case competitions or challenges, right? So sort of like crowdsourcing breakthrough ideas. We have a platform that we've partnered with, and these can be run at any time, where you put a challenge out to students. If you're trying to gather some information, I'll give you an example of one that we're running right now for a client of ours. And this is what their deliverables are. This is what their challenge has been that they've put up. It's around social media, about asking how they can use social media to attract new followers for their charity. This is a not-for-profit that we're working with. And they've broken that down further to ask about platforms, strategies, messagings, you know, why will these ideas be successful, and then attracting new followers and how they can turn them into long-term donors. So we're going to engage students in this challenge, and hopefully they will be able to get some really great new and innovative ideas on how they can leverage their social media. We actually had another individual who ran a challenge. It was around recruiting and hiring newcomers and international students. It tended to be an area where they had a challenge getting talent. So we put that one out actually to our international students and ran it as a challenge, and it ended up being extremely successful. That particular company has taken information from those submissions and are actually now using it in some of their newcomer and international candidate recruitment strategies. So it ended up being really beneficial to them and got some great information and new perspectives. And coming from international students, it was very helpful. So yeah, and those are really flexible. So you can send us, you know, we can do those anytime. We work with you and the challenge provider to get those set up. You're able to go in, review all your submissions. And there's a rubric there for sort of grading those, so to speak, to say sort of, so students are in a technical competition. So there's like a first, second, third place and things like that. And then McMaster has some funding where we can provide prize money to the students for participating in those challenges. So we do a number of other types of hiring as well. So individuals who are in a position to hire salaried employees. We have a number of different funding pots of money that we can access. So whether you're interested in hiring somebody for, maybe it's for a co-op or an internship length type of opportunity, maybe it's somebody on a part-time capacity, full-time short-term. So even if it's full-time for a couple of months, we do have a number of sort of wage subsidies and funding opportunities that we have open to us. It's while COVID has been a real challenge, it has opened up some funding from the different branches of government for us to be able to support students to get experience and support our employer and community partners. So one of those is our Career Access Professional Services. And there we work with students who are equity deserving, and we have some wage subsidies that we're able to provide in there, as well as for our international student population. They tend to be quite challenged in trying to find opportunities and gain Canadian experience. So the International Student Work Opportunity has funding as well, but we also have additional services, which is like job coaching, you know, getting accessibility equipment and things like that, that we can help fund those as well, should a student need anything. We're also currently getting some funding under an Experience Ventures program. So this has come out of the University of Calgary, and these are work integrated learning opportunities, short-term. They are unpaid, but we have funding for specific honorariums for these students. So if they're working on a project up to 80 hours, the student would get an honorarium of $800 upon completion of the project. And this is really sort of an entrepreneurially focused funding plan. So they really want to engage students who have that mindset. As well, we are trying to engage students who typically have not had opportunities to go out and gain experience. So these are not students who are your fourth year engineering student who's got 3 co-op work terms under their belt and has done a bunch of case competitions and hackathons. You know, we're looking at a second year student who maybe they've completed a summer work opportunity, taken some courses, and are looking to get some hands-on experience. And when I say hands-on, it doesn't have to be in person. Of course, almost everything I'm showing you right now can be done from a virtual capacity while we're still working that way. So these are great. And all that we ask from our employers on these is that you are providing sort of in-kind support, right? Your time, expertise, maybe there's a platform they're working on. So there's no out-of-pocket cost for our employer partners on this one either, which is fantastic, especially if you're looking to have a specific project in mind. And then the Student Work Placement Program, which comes from the government as well. It gives post-secondary students paid work experience related to their field of study. Again, we're trying to target those students who don't have access to formalized internship or co-op programs, because that is the majority of students that don't have access to those, are just not part of their programs. We're currently working with 2 different providers on the SWEP funding, and we're able to provide wage subsidies. Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me one moment. Uh-oh. See, I'm trying to click too many. Sorry, fun things about technology. So we're working with 2 different partners. One of them is focused on digital work integrated learning opportunities. And the other is, oh my gosh, excuse me. So sorry about that. These can be for full-time or part-time opportunities. And the wage subsidy is up to 75% or $7,500 for a 4-month opportunity. That's for full-time. And for part-time, it's a little bit less. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head right now, but so there's lots of funding. if you've got ways that you are, hoping to get somebody on board in a short-term capacity, we can actually provide wage subsidies as well as some of the honorariums that we talked about earlier as well. And then of course, there's the unpaid opportunities too through our Career Tracks program. So there's a lot of information there. There's a lot more detail to all of that, and I didn't want to bog you down with a whole slew of numbers that you may forget. So what I've done here is just provided my contact information for you. And you're welcome to reach out to me directly to ask more information. I think the slide decks will be coming out to you as well, so you can review and then get my contact information. And so we can just start a conversation, hear about the projects you've got, and I'll kind of maybe be able to let you know which one of these opportunities might work the best for you. You can let me know which you think will work the best for you, and we can see about getting you connected. The Student Success Center, so that you know, supports all faculties across campus. So whether maybe you need an engineering student and somebody from humanities, we can connect with everybody because we run from a centralized capacity. Some of our co-op programs are run individually within faculties, and I can help you navigate to get in touch with the appropriate people for those as well. The last thing I will say is that I am out of the office tomorrow afternoon and Monday and Tuesday. So if you do send me an email, I will not be able to get back to those until about Wednesday. So just so you know, if there's a delay in response, it's because I've taken a few days off to relax. So thank you so much for your time. I didn't know if anybody had any questions. I'm not able to see the chat.
So I don't see any questions right now. I'm sure people have some things to think about and consider. If anyone does have a question, please type it in the Q&A, and we can always send it off to Anna as well.
Yeah, just send those off to me, and then of course email me directly.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And yes, and as Anna said, I will send out the deck, and I will actually in the follow-up email include all of that information in the body of the email as well, just so it's easier for you to get a hold of her. And now I'm gonna have Irina share her screen and advise us about what Mohawk has happening in their student center. And thank you so much, Anna.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me just try and share my screen here. Does everybody see my screen now? I'm good?
You're good to go.
Awesome. Very good. You know what? I will turn off my camera if I will know how to do this. Just 1 second, please. All right. So yeah, I wanted to turn off my camera as we are in the fun times of Zoom meetings, and sometimes the connections are just not as great as I would like them to be. So as we are doing our recording, I wanted to make sure that it is seamless. As Anna mentioned, we are all missing the in-person interactions and in-person presentations, but for now we are just happy to provide information the best way we can. All right, so thank you so much for attending today's presentation. It is always a pleasure to connect with our community and employers and speak about access to student talent. I will try to cover as much as possible on the topic of access to student talent, but wanted to mention our industry and employers website. It contains much of the information I will speak about today, as well as our contact us page, where you as the employers have the opportunity to reach out to us with any questions that you may have. Those inquiries go directly to me, and I'll be happy to connect you directly to the campus resources that you're in need of. We are a large college, but we have made it very simple for you to partner with us. So be sure to visit our site. There are numerous ways that you, the employers, can recruit our students and grads and partner with Mohawk. I'm happy to share with you today some of the useful information on those most common ways that you may know to access our talent. These include hiring our co-op students, placement opportunities, posting jobs on our Career Ready job board. We'll talk a bit about the industry projects and freelancing, and we'll cover the agency, which is for startup companies. So great agenda today. I will start with co-op programs, as this is usually the most commonly known one. Mohawk College is Canada's first college to offer cooperative education. We certainly know the value co-op offers to both students and employers. We at Mohawk have dedicated co-op specialists that work with you throughout the entire process. Our co-op specialists can help with posting part-time, full-time graduate employment opportunities on our board. They can assist you with interviewing and the hiring process. They provide support to you, the employer, as well as the students during the co-op work terms. They will share with you the latest information on applying for funding options, and Anna has mentioned those as well earlier. For example, the Ontario tax credit, it provides about up to 3,000 in tax credits, and the student work placement program that Anna has mentioned as well, which is a federal initiative, and tax credits up to about 7,500, I believe, but it does depend on the industry and the provider. The co-op students can also assist you with posting opportunities and targeting the graduate students at Mohawk as well. And in fact, today, two of my colleagues, our two co-op specialists, Rachel Alfano and David Waddington, have joined us on this call and are available. If you have any questions after the presentation, they will be happy to answer. In terms of hiring our co-op students, it is a fairly seamless process. Our employers would post the job on the job board. Our students would apply to those jobs. We can help with setting up the interviews and the selection process, and hopefully that would result in hiring of our students. The entire process is repeated 3 times per year for our 3 work terms. So the fall, winter, and spring work terms. So for example, if you are looking to hire for winter term, so if for the students to start in January, we will be reaching out in September and posting jobs October 1st. Interviews will be conducted mid-October into mid-November. Also, students are confirmed by mid-November for January start. So the process starts 1 semester prior to the student working on the job. So it is important to note that the timing for each of the cycles so that you don't miss out on the hiring window. Co-op is full-time work, typically in blocks of 4, 8, or 12 months. Co-op terms are 4-month terms based on an average of 35 hours per week. The co-op work is related to students' program of study. And we have 25 co-op programs at Mohawk College. Students are paid by the employer, and our co-op students, the co-op programs alternate between full-time study and full-time employment. We at Mohawk have about 3,000 co-op students in those 25 programs. You may be wondering about co-op employment during this pandemic. It certainly has been a challenging year for all of us. And I wanted to just outline a few important changes during the pandemic. Regarding the interviews, so interviews can be done virtually or in person. If interviews are being held in person, COVID and public health protocols need to be followed. In terms of the training and safety training, employers will be asked to complete a COVID workplace assessment prior to students starting the job. Health and safety training along with COVID protocols should be covered at the first day of the job, and employers are expected to have WSIB and comprehensive general liability insurance if WSIB is exempt. And in terms of the location, students are able to work from home or on site. However, if they're on site, COVID protocols have to be followed. In terms of our student placements, Mohawk College has 42 student placement opportunities. Clinical and practicum placements are mandatory for students to get their license or their designation. The clinical placements would be, for example, in healthcare field, nurses or rec therapists. Practicum placements would be, for example, paralegal, whereas the field placements, they are not tied to an exact designation. What's great about the placements is that they are unpaid work placements and vary in length of duration, depending on the program of study. They offer industry relevant experience for our students, and that isn't as long of a duration as co-op. So that means for you as an employer that if, for example, you have a small project that you just have not had a time to tackle, this is a great way to bring on a student to help with those types of projects. The placements range anywhere from 2 to 7 weeks. The recruitment process is similar to that of co-op in that it starts a semester prior. So for the winter, the recruiting will start in the fall. It is a great opportunity for employers to get to know the student, and many of our placement students get hired after graduation by those employers that have had placements with them. There are many benefits to the employers for hiring co-op students and placement students as well. And I'm happy to cover some of those benefits with you today. It allows you, the employers, to access highly motivated students. It provides you the opportunity for employers to evaluate on-job performance for future graduate hiring. You can reduce the recruiting costs and improve retention rates. It is a great way to get to know the student, and many of our employers hire those students, as I mentioned earlier, after they have graduated. By posting jobs, you are gaining increased visibility among Mohawk's top talent. And it is a great way to fill short-term vacancies for special projects, vacations, contracts, and any seasonal employment. You're also eliminating or reducing the training period for future graduate hiring. So if you hire a student that has been working with you, they already are familiar with your organization. You have access to financial hiring incentives, as we mentioned earlier as well, through the co-op hiring process as well. I'd like to quickly cover our Career Ready job board. You as an employer are welcome to post full-time and part-time employment opportunities for our students and grads on our Career Ready job board. It is free of charge to post on our board. On average, it takes about 10 minutes for our employers to post the job. So it's fairly quick process. If you have not used our job board before, you will need to register. So that will take, it's still fairly fast process with the registration piece as well. Another fantastic resource for employers is the agency at Mohawk College. The agency is an experiential learning facility, which is operating within the McHale School of Business. It is focused on startup companies. Students from a variety of different programs. I'll list some for you. Advertising, public relations, marketing, graphics, broadcast media, journalism, and photography. They all collaborate in developing marketing and communication solutions for selected businesses in our greater Hamilton area. So essentially, how this works is that, let's say you are working on a logo for your company and you have an idea, or you drew a quick design on a piece of paper, but need to have that, professionally designed and created. You can apply to the agency. If your application is selected and approved, student teams will work on the logo or on that project. The project is actually integrated into the curriculum for that semester and is marked under close faculty supervision. The product, or let's say your logo, is then produced, excuse me. But the fantastic part is that more than one options are produced for you, as there are usually more than one, excuse me, one team of students working on your project. So this is a fantastic way of having very talented students develop effective marketing solutions. Just a quick reminder, if you are looking to apply to the agency, the deadline is August the 6th. We at Mohawk have fantastic media and arts programs, as mentioned earlier, and some of our students from those programs also do freelance work. These fantastic photographers and videographers and animators are all vetted by Mohawk and are our top selected students. So if you have some freelance work that needs to be completed, this site is great for you to check out, and to check out some of our great senior year students and recent graduates. And the categories are advertising, graphics design, photography, videography, public relations. So fantastic site for you to check out. Capstone project, an industry project, is another very exciting opportunity for employers and students. Our students will solve that specific challenge by applying knowledge and skills that they have acquired through their program of studies. For example, as a capstone project, our accessible media production students, they did a research and translated those results into written reports, oral presentations, and poster presentations. Another example is our brain disorders management program. Capstone project was involved creating infographics to help make information more accessible to the public. So many ways that our students can help you, the employers, solve that specific challenge through industry and capstone projects. Here is our contact information. If you think of a question or something that you forgot to ask during our Q&A time today, please feel free to reach out to us. I have included the email address as well as our industry and employers website, which contains, as I mentioned earlier, our contact us page that you can fill out. Again, the inquiries are emailed to me directly, and I'll be happy to connect and reach out to you.